Hello everyone, this is a response to Natural Southern Girl concerning Down syndrome babies and her decision to keep her baby. I applaud you for that decision. While I don't have a child that was diagnosed with Down syndrome, I do have two children, both of them grown. One of them who is classified as functionally mentally retarded. Now, to give you a little bit of background, I'm the mother of two children. I've actually been pregnant 6 times. I lost 2 through miscarriage, and then I lost 2, actually they were aborted. The reasons for the abortions were that there were a lot of developmental problems during those 2 pregnancies, and as a result, not only were the babies affected, but my life was put in jeopardy, and my husband and I, with much anguish, decided for those particular pregnancies to have them terminated. It wasn't a decision that was made lightly, and it wasn't a decision that we arrived at overnight. It was very difficult for the both of us. And even now, after 20 some odd years, from time to time I still have dreams, sometimes nightmares, about what was done. But anyway, I do applaud you for your decision, and I really do understand what you're saying when you said even if you had known this ahead of time, you would have made the decision to have the baby anyway. It's not something, I think sometimes people on the outside looking in are a little quick to judge because they don't know the situation. They don't know all the ins and outs of the situation. And I don't think the decision to terminate any pregnancy is one that's made, for the most part, I don't think it's something that's made easily or at the spur of the moment. I think no matter what the reasons are, a lot of anguish and a lot of thought goes into the decision-making process. Both of my living children are grown now. One just turned 24, the other turned 22 in January, and both babies were born very, very prematurely, 16 to 18 weeks preterm, and neither one weighed 2 pounds at birth. My youngest, my son, DJ, is the one we had problems with. My daughter, Denise, even though she was really small, she was really feisty. One of the nurses in the NICU called her a feisty old broad, which a long time ago was kind of a derogatory characterization, but in her case was very apt because she was very feisty. She was an old broad, even though she was so tiny, and she just fought her heart out to come through and to survive. She's a beautiful 24-year-old woman now with a 4-year-old daughter of her own. I love her to death. She's gorgeous. My son, bless his heart, I love him just as much, but when he came into the world, his situation was a little different, and actually we had major problems with him. At 2 days of age, he had a severe brain hemorrhage because the walls of the blood vessels in the brain were so underdeveloped and so thin. As a result of this brain hemorrhage, of course there were blood clots in the brain. Portions of his brain, died. They had to operate at about 2 weeks of age to insert a makeshift shunt into his brain to help establish circulation pads for the cerebral spinal fluid and to relieve pressure on the brain so more tissue would not deteriorate. At that point in time, he was giving very, very little chance of survival. And then we were also told that even if he did survive, his quality of life would be very, very poor. He would be basically a vegetable. He would never learn to walk or to talk or to take care of himself or to interact with anyone in any way. Thanks and praise to God that didn't happen. My husband and I went through a lot of tears, a lot of frustration, a lot of real fear on behalf of my son We worked with him daily. He was sent to therapists to try to reestablish neural pathways that have been damaged or lost so that he could learn to walk, he could learn to talk, he could learn to communicate, and he would develop some of the higher brain functions that we as so-called normal individuals take for granted. It was a really tough, long road. We sweated bullets, we cried, we prayed, we cried some more, and sometimes we were just at a total loss. But I'm very proud and very happy to say that not through our efforts, but through God's efforts, because God controlled all of this, he has grown into an amazing young man. Now, he won't ever drive a car, he won't ever go to college. A lot of the things that we do that we take for granted, there are a lot of things that he won't do because they demand very highly developed cognitive skills and very highly developed multitasking capabilities. Some of those things he will never do, but he has come a long, long way, much further than what we ever reasonably expected him to come. And again, I just commend you for taking up this task and being there for your daughter and doing all that you can to develop her to his fullest potential. Give God all the glory, because actually, even though we as human beings tend to become very involved in our human accomplishments and what we learn, and the more knowledge we gain, the greater we are, we tend to forget the fact that God allows us to have that veil and allows us to believe that we are the ones who accomplish this. But in actual fact, we don't accomplish any of this without God, and we only accomplish these things in His time and not in our time. So girl, you go on and do what you need to do, what you have to do. Remember to give Him all the praise and all the glory and ask Him for His help and His mercy, and you'll do fine, and she will do fine. And God bless you. Stay blessed. All my love to you and your girl. Hugs and peace, and keep in touch with me. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.